The demise of the Buffalo Bills has been greatly exaggerated, winning Thursday night over the Miami Dolphins, plus Tua's concerning concussion, yet another, plus all the picks for week 2 of the NFL schedule. Coming up on today's Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We love our everydayers. We love all the new listeners as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Matt, we got to go to Thursday night first before we make all of our picks for the rest of week 2. And clearly the big story and the score, 31-10 Bills on the back burner with another Tua concussion. And they get scarier and scarier. And this is one where Tua's scrambling. Obviously, the game's not going great already for the Miami Dolphins at this point, and it wasn't even a huge hit. It wasn't even a helmet-to-helmet hit. It was Tua's helmet hitting the arm of, Damar Hamlin, which makes the whole scene even, more wild, thinking about what Damar Hamlin went through himself on an NFL football field, and now he's the one putting a hit on a guy who stays down, and this is not the type of hit that should knock a player out and concuss him the way that Tua did, which is extremely, extremely concerning given Tua's history. NFL quarterbacks get down, feet first, by the way, get down early. He's trying to make a play for his team, bring him back in the football game. All of it bad. And obviously the conversation now, Matt, has to be at what point is it worth continuing to play an NFL career for Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very concerning. And that's obviously the headline. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. And I really feel for the young man. I hope he's all right. All those things. But I don't mean to sound coarse, but they just gave him a large contract with a bunch of guaranteed money. And I think a lot of us, because he had a good year last year, he led the league in passing. We were quick to forget maybe that it wasn't that long ago that we've seen these things from this player, and even coming out of Alabama with some hip and other pretty serious injuries, that maybe his body isn't equipped to play this game at this level. And it's really concerning. I mean, I'm not trying to sound coarse.
Right. The scary thing is he played all last year, right?
Yeah.
They were on fire last year, and all this was behind him, and I had kind of forgotten about it until he gets hit and stays on the ground.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
nature of it.
Oh, that's right. And the fact that his brain this is the scary part, that his brain is at a place where you put all that distance between his concussion problems in 2022, which was 2 seasons ago. Now you're here in 2024, one hit, not even that devastating of a hit. And it does that to you. That is extremely scary.
Extremely scary. So, can we shift to the game itself? I mean, that's...
Yes. I mean, that's where it is. Tua's in concussion protocol. The latest reporting on that from Cameron Wolf is that Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel says, as it stands today, Skylar Thompson is the next man up for them at quarterback. And they've started some conversations about bringing in another quarterback to add to the room, but they have confidence in Skylar playing while Tua is in concussion protocol. So we'll see if they bring it back. Skylar Thompson, not surprising, will be the starter next week for them.
And I hope for the best for Tua, of course. And maybe they get on the Tannehill situation or make a trade or who knows. But this was a really alarming showing by the Dolphins just from a football perspective, too. I mean, I don't know if they were flat, but they did not come out with a lot of energy. I didn't understand what the head coach was doing to end the half. I mean, you have to play with some urgency. They're not even like playing fast at all. Like, I mean, that was a terrible message, in my opinion. The commentators mentioned, late in the game, Tyreek and Waddle are over on the bench, not even like participating at all while their team's getting trounced. And frankly, Teron Armstead is their best offensive lineman. He has never played a full season in his entire career. He was in and out of this game. Their line's getting manhandled. I mean, the physicality that the Bills brought compared to the Dolphins was night and day. The Dolphins had no interior run presence, and they're, as much as I like a Chan, I mean, is he a 20-some carry type of guy on a short week? You know what I mean? Like, no. And they're just playing back and attacking everything. Don't get beat over the top. And that back seven is playing downhill on every throw. And I think the Bills' D-line is really, really good. And you and I have been doing this a while. I mean, how long have I been saying Buffalo needs to embrace that they play in Buffalo, New York, and become a physical football team? And I think they really have.
They certainly won the physicality matchup in this game. And for a team like the Buffalo Bills to win 31-10 and dominate this game from the start with a healthy Tua, to the point where I think Mike McDaniel didn't trust Tua to throw the ball. And I mean, 3 interceptions, not all of them were exactly his fault in a way that it was, some receivers that weren't Waddle and Hill might have been not in the place he expected them to be. Exactly. That were late additions to the team. Because, a lot of throws in the NFL would look a lot different if there's no receiver between the quarterback and the defender, right? And so I think that happened as well. But just to run the ball at the end of the half, like you're afraid to let your quarterback throw, that was a bad sign already for the Dolphins. The Dolphins didn't exactly start super hot last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is that more about the Jaguars being better this year? Is it more about the Buffalo Bills being better this year, who, by the way, didn't look great against a visiting Arizona Cardinals to start the game last week? A little hero ball from Josh Allen with 4 touchdowns helps them win the game in week 1. So I had some questions about the Bills on a short week going to Miami, and they answered that call emphatically. So is it the Dolphins that have been playing bad? Is it the Bills that are actually much better than we expected after losing some pieces in the offseason? It's maybe too early to know the answer of all those things, but certainly the Bills now at 2-0, you've got to be stock up on them, because this wasn't about Josh Allen going out there and being a hero and making everything happen. This was a team victory for the Buffalo Bills, short week on the road against a division opponent.
Really impressive win. McDermott deserves a lot of credit, because I thought the back seven was going to get tortured in this game, and I don't think it's a very talented back seven, but they played hard. Allen made several impressive throws. Cook's turning into a big-time player, and they have enough other weapons that they can piece things together. And have you ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark? I'm sure you have. I'm sure most people have,
Of course, yeah.
You remember the dude that pulls out the sword and he's flinging it all around, and then Harrison Ford just shoots him. Like, to me, that is like the Dolphins offense right now. Like, we're doing all this crazy motion, doing all this stuff, and we're just going to hang back and cover 2 and come up and smack you in the teeth. And it seems, when it used to seem innovative, now it seems desperate. You know what I mean? And this league can change so fast.
No doubt. James Cook, 11 carries for 78 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. That's 7.1 yards per carry. And then he added another receiving touchdown in this game. Josh Allen didn't have to do a whole lot. As I mentioned earlier, 19 attempts for Josh Allen in this game. He had the touchdown pass, and that was to his running back who did most of the work. Yeah. So, and the defense is really, obviously, having a healthy edge rusher like Von Miller is good, but the physical presence up front is, I think, where you would point to the Buffalo Bills. And Damar Hamlin, the guy that put the hit on Tua, he led the team in tackles. They lost both of their longtime stalwart safeties, and they're playing okay in the back end. So, you got to like the way the Buffalo Bills look right now to start the season, and the varied way they've won the last 2 games.
Last thing I just told Wig this on Locked On NFL. You got to check that out on Fridays when I'm on. But the Bills were here for a joint practice. And obviously they're high pedigree guys, but Oliver and Rousseau, if they're not there now, are banging on the door of stardom.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's taken a while.
Taken a little while. Oliver's been good, but
year 4?
Oliver's been good, but now I think he's turning into a stud.
Okay.
Rousseau's been a gradual slow burn, but now he looks like a difference maker. And they've invested a lot that D-line.
Power players like that too. You think of someone like Calais Campbell, and you think of Cam Hayward in Pittsburgh, and I'm not putting them on that level or necessarily, but what like the big power players like they're not just walking into the league and trying to beat you with speed. That's something that sticks and could be, you work on your technique and you get a little bit better as a pass rusher each year, but you still have that power game and that dad strength, and that's going to carry you for a long time in the NFL. So maybe we're seeing that from some of those, big defensive linemen that the Buffalo Bills have drafted in years past.
Yeah, it's coming to fruition now. So they're in a good spot.
So we got to make some picks for the rest of week 2. That is the Thursday nighter in the books. Bills 2-0. Dolphins now drop to 1-1 and have some big questions at quarterback. And those will linger. And of course, we will cover everything going on with those quarterback decisions for the Miami Dolphins going forward. Let's make picks for the rest of week 2 to finish up this episode of Peacock and Williamson. This episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to make sure that you can find the right professionals for your team. And at LinkedIn Jobs, you can find those professionals faster and for free. And LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn is a place that already has, we're talking 1 billion professionals. So the odds are you're going to find a professional that fits what you are looking for when your small business is hiring. And most of them aren't visiting other leading job sites, over 70% of LinkedIn users, in fact. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place, and you might just find someone who already has a job, but really is looking for the perfect job sort of passively. And you can find those hirees potentially at LinkedIn as well. And LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats, might not have all the time and resources to hire. So they're constantly finding ways to make the process easier. Even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions. And 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Something a little different and special for you to start this NFL season at FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel anytime. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all Sunday, this Sunday, September 15th, pregame money line bets. Profit Boost is already live, so check it out. View your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, here we go. It's time to make our picks for week number 2. And for those of you who didn't hear our Wednesday episode for our 6-pack of favorite picks, plus the Thursday nighter, which we both got wrong, picking the Dolphins at home on a short week against the Buffalo Bills. Got that very wrong. That's our first, very, very wrong pick of the season. I think we did all right in week 1. And by the way, shout out to the listeners that are tracking our picks. Keep us in line here on Peacock and Williamson, so we're not just making picks willy-nilly, man. The rest of the 6-pack, for those of you who missed it and go back and listen to all the reasonings why, I took the Raiders, you took the Ravens, 9.5 points the Raiders are getting on the road. A game like that makes me feel better. You see that on Thursday night. Remember, it's like the best team just doesn't always win every single time by a whole bunch of points. Mm-hmm. The team that you expect to win, the home team. We both got the Steelers -3 against the Broncos. We both have the Colts at the Packers. We both have the Saints at the Cowboys taking points. And I took the Commanders. You took the Giants. Commanders at home, favorites by 1.5. And that's our 6-pack this week, Matt. So let's get into the rest of the picks here and start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. And it is the Lions that are favored at home by 7.5 points. A touchdown plus for the Lions at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who looked really good. Baker Mayfield chucked 4 touchdown passes in week 1, Matt.
I like the Bucs to keep it close, and it's another conversation I just had on Locked On NFL, but I think it is worth repeating. You know that Detroit's a good team; they're a contender. We know that. You know, we know who the Lions are, but last year it was like, oh, the Bucs, that's cute. They won the South. You know, it's a terrible division. Somebody had to win it. You know, whatever. And then the Eagles look terrible at the end of the season and get beat in the first round. And then the Bucs go and play the Lions tough in the playoffs. And then Mayfield's one of the best quarterbacks in week one. And they still have Evans and Godwin and Vita Vea. And I wish Winfield was playing. But they have a lot of really good players. And I think that they're a legit team. And this is going to tell us a lot about them. I'm not saying they're a contender, but I think they can hang with the Lions.
I think they can hang. Yeah. 7.5 is a lot of points. And I like this to be less than that. I mean, the Lions can win by a touchdown, which shouldn't shock anybody, right? And you still win your bet. So, yeah, it's too many points for me. And maybe even if it was 6.5, I might lean further towards the Lions. But, I mean, we're talking about they got to win by 2 scores here to defeat the Buccaneers here for you to win that one. So I like taking the points here for the home Buccaneers because they're a good football team and should be able to play the Lions tough. And, you know, we got a week of film as well. So a lot of things we saw in week one might get flipped on their ears. And it's not like the Lions completely blew out the Rams. And I think the Lions are a lot better team than the Rams as well. So there's some sluggishness to the Lions, even though they got Jameson Williams going, which is very exciting for that offense.
I mean, Hutchinson's not going to go against a 7th-round tackle. He's going to go against Tristan Wirfs. You know, like it's a legit battle here.
I got some notes on the Rams, by the way, with what's going on with their injuries already to start this season. When we get to that game, we got the New York Jets 0-1 at the Tennessee Titans 0-1, and it's the Jets on the road favored by 3.5.
This is a tough one for me because I really was impressed with Tennessee's defense, especially their interior D line controlling things. But I think Jets O line is better than it showed. I think the Jets defense is better than it showed. I trust Rodgers to have a better week 2 than Cousins, you know, like these old guys that are coming back from injuries. 3.5 on the road, though. I take the home team here.
I'm taking the road dog Jets to flip the switch here in week number 2. They ran into a good football team in week number 1. The Titans, you know, against the Bears. I have more questions about the Bears actually after week 1, even though they beat the Titans. Than I did coming into the season. So I like the Jets here. 3.5 points is not going to scare me off. It give me New York on the road.
Okay.
I think the Jets are a better team than we saw on Monday Night Football. And
I tend to agree, especially on defense.
Right. And I think opponents are a big factor in that. And I do think the Jets are, even not playing great in week 1, are a better football team than the Tennessee Titans. 3.5, not enough. The San Francisco 49ers are on the road at the Minnesota Vikings. This nugget surprises me every time, and it came up last year. When do you think the last time the 49ers won in Minnesota is? You just had to take a wild guess.
Long time. 15 years ago.
Yeah. Go even further. Double that.
Okay.
More than double that. 1992.
It seems it's like a weird environment for them.
Wow.
You know, right. Yeah.
And one of my listeners recently kind of went through it, and he's like, it's a Midwest curse. The 49ers since the 90s, even they were in the midst of a dynasty at one point, and you know, kind of having tough games at Minnesota, at Cleveland, at Chicago. Is it a weather thing? Is it a Midwest curse that some people are calling it? The Kansas City Chiefs have the Niners number in recent years as well. So I don't know if there's anything to that. I usually don't believe in curses. And so just like I thought Monday night, I think the 49ers are a better team. The 49ers, I think the Vikings should be on blowout alert, man. Seeing how good the 49ers played, even without Christian McCaffrey, they've got a lot of confidence coming into this one. Brock Purdy, how about this stat? Brock Purdy has a 145 quarterback rating when he sees a team for the second time. And the Vikings got the 49ers last year. I think it's going to look different this time. 49ers get off the schneid, beat the Vikings in Minnesota for the first time since 1992, and they win by at least a touchdown. I'm giving up 5 points on the road for the 49ers here.
Couldn't agree more. You said some great stuff there. I think the Niners are a juggernaut. But as you were talking, listen to this, BP. I got an email from the only Superflex league I'm in. Someone in my league dropped Sean Clifford and picked up Tom Brady. Remember the Brady Dolphin connection? I'm not trying to start rumors, but like,
Brady, like, I mean, first of all, that is very interesting.
I know. I was like, wow, that is a bold move. Does he know something I don't?
it really, that didn't dawn on me because I understand last year there's some more conversations like that with Brady. Is he coming back? He's not coming back. I think he's too far away.
I would imagine. But
maybe the right team, and maybe that's it. I don't know. That's not the offense that Brady comes from either. So I don't think it's the easiest thing to jump into that. He never played in a Shanahan tree offense in the NFL.
I just thought, wow, that's a bold pickup in a Superflex league, and I think it's worth bringing up.
Yeah, I mean, if for free, if you're going to drop a guy anyway, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it. That's interesting. The other thing is how many players do you have to have now because he's trying to get into ownership, and now he's got another job already that he just started on the air as
he wasn't very good at it.
You didn't like Tom Brady?
I thought he was very bland and just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
It was Rodgers and Cousins coming off an injury.
Okay. All right. We'll monitor that one. You got the Niners against the Vikings?
I do. I think they win big and are the team you don't want to play right now.
Okay. Seattle Seahawks at the New England Patriots. That is a morning game. And a long trip for the Seattle Seahawks. The Patriots 1-0. The Seahawks 1-0. The Patriots came out hot and beat a lot of expectations. Matt, do they continue that trend? Is this a better Patriots team than we gave credit for?
Are you looking at 3.5 on this game?
3.5. Yeah. Roads favored by 3.5. So this is a home dog situation for a team that looked pretty good against a good team in week 1.
It's a hard thing to count on, but you nailed it. I mean, Seattle started really slow, then figured it out. New England started really good and basically kept with it. And it's a 1:00 game and one of the longest road trips you can make. I think the Patriots D is still legit, that they keep this thing close. I think they'd lose, but hang within 3.5.
And by the way, I think the second lowest over-under on the week, 38.5. So that kind of tells a story of it could be an ugly, low-scoring game. You could lose by a field goal, still win, or the Patriots could you get 3.5, so a field goal still doesn't even do it. I like the home dog here. I'm gonna go home dog Patriots. You got me interested. I'm curious, Patriots. Let's see how this goes. We already talked about Giants Commanders. I'm not curious about those teams. I think we know exactly who they are. The Los Angeles Chargers, the new look Harbaugh Chargers that look like a completely different team than they did last year, and very Harbaugh way, against the Carolina Panthers, who looked very too much similar than they've looked the last couple of years. So Chargers on the road favored by 5.
Liked how the Chargers D played. Panthers are a distant 32nd right now in every power ranking. I just think the Chargers aren't that good. I'm going to take the points, and I can't believe I'm doing that. So Carolina looked so bad.
If there's a bet, this is the one I like, where it's it's a decent. I want the number to be higher though. If I'm going to bet at all on the Carolina,
I was hoping to be like 7.
I mean, again, you just bet on all the home dogs, you'll do pretty well most cases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this one. I do like the Chargers.
I don't like it at all. I want to bet against both
by only a field goal rather than by 5. We'll see what that ends up looking like. We'll see if the Chargers offense can put some numbers up on that Panthers defense. But yeah, I just can't
see a lot of points from the
I need 7.5, 8, 9 points to be able to bet on the Panthers at home. 10 points. You know what I mean?
This is a big stay away from me. I can't believe I just said the Panthers either.
Give me the Chargers. What are you thinking? All right, next we'll finish up this episode and make our picks, get into some afternoon games Sunday as well. Next. This episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. You're not playing against sharks in the pool. You're not playing against a whole bunch of other people. You're playing against the stat projections on Prize Picks. And all you do is you pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch those winnings roll in. And all you need to do is win 2 to 6 player stat projections, and Prize Picks is giving you a free one. All Caleb Williams has to do is have 1 passing yard, and that gets you 1 win on Prize Picks for the #1 pick in the draft every week in September. Prize Picks invented flex play, by the way, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So what are you waiting for? Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL. Get $50 off, or get $50 in your account instantly to play with when you bet just $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, here we go. The rest of the schedule in week 2. Let's finish up these picks and go to the Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Browns laid a complete egg in week 1. Jaguars competitive fell to the Dolphins in week 1. Jacksonville at home favored by 3 points.
Yeah, Jacksonville just put their best corner on IR, but I think the physicality of their front is going to be a real problem for the Browns tackles. And this is just a flat-out bet against Deshaun Watson. I mean, everything going on with him, and especially on the field, well, both, is extremely troubling. I thought Jacksonville played pretty well in the game they probably should have won. Plus, they have the heat factor going for them.
I don't like this game at all, and I wouldn't touch it. I think it's the perfect line, though. I'm going to lean towards we're disagreeing more this week, which I like. I'm going to lean towards the Browns because I think defensively they're going to be a lot better this week against the Jaguars. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson either, but he doesn't have to be amazing. I just think this could be a close one, and I think it's more of a pick 'em for me. So I'm going to take the points for the Browns on the road.
All right.
The Los Angeles Rams in the division at the Arizona Cardinals. Both teams coming in at 0-1. And the Arizona Cardinals are favored by 1 point. And if you're thinking, wow, the Cards are favored in a game against the Los Angeles Rams, a little context as to why that might be the case. And looking at the Rams right now, putting people on IR left and right, including Puka Nacua, the star rookie from last year coming into week 2. You got Steve Avila, offensive lineman, Joe Noteboom, offensive lineman, Tyler Higbee already on the PUP list to start the year. Alaric Jackson's been suspended. You got Darius Williams on IR. You've got, they're bringing people in off the street right now in Los Angeles. And I didn't think they looked great in week 1. And I was kind of more down on the Rams than a lot of people were to start the year. But I hate that the Cardinals are favored, even if it's only by 1 point.
Yeah.
Who won this one?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be nifty here with the Cardinals upset special. I figured they were going to get like 2 or 3 points in this one, but I still like them to win. All the reasons you said, the Rams are just in a rough spot. Cardinals play hard. They don't have a ton of talent, especially on defense, but I still think that O-line is a real problem for the Rams.
I think it's a problem for the Rams. I don't know if the Cardinals are the team that's going to take advantage.
I know.
So I'm going to take the single point and go Rams in this one. To be honest with you, I don't think the Rams are all that different than I thought about them coming into the year with these injuries against a team like the Cardinals. Maybe a lot of points in this one potentially, though. And I'm interested to see who, from a fantasy perspective, is it Tyler Johnson? Is it Whittington, the rookie that gets all those extra Puka targets? Or do we just see and by the way, it looked like I thought Cooper Kupp was going to catch 20 balls. He did catch 14 in that first game. Every target at the beginning of the game. And so I think Puka Nacua owners already had their hands on their head to start the game, and then Puka gets hurt. Like Kupp is going to be gold in your fantasy league as long as he stays healthy, I have a feeling, this year.
Tend to agree. Like a 47% target share or something insane.
And by the way, can Blake Corum get on the field, the rookie? Like, you don't draft a running back that high.
Not used at all.
Warm up the bench. That's an interesting development as well, fantasy-wise, for the Los Angeles Rams.
I don't like betting against McVay and Stafford in that one. That's kind of a stay away for me, too.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? There's a lot of people are making a big deal about Marvin Harrison Jr. had the slowest GPS time this week, and he didn't run a 40 time. And people are like, oh no, is he actually slow? But he did have like 22.5 miles per hour in college GPS time. So there's some speed there. I think he just runs routes a certain way where he doesn't reach top speed a lot. And he didn't have an opportunity to have breakaway runs or anything like that. So, but it is curious. It
is.
It reminds me of Michael Crabtree because he had an injury coming out and never ran. And he was such a stud in college. And he gets in the NFL and he's like, he's not quite as big, fast, dynamic as he looked in college once he gets against NFL athletes. So there's a little like squint at Marvin Harrison Jr. Is he like generational like everyone expected? But, he's not the slowest rookie in the league either, So it's like, we'll see what that career ends up looking like. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I'm not worried yet, but I did find it kind of interesting.
The Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs at home favored by 6 points. This feels like it's not enough with the way the Bengals looked in week 1, man.
100%. I am worried about the Bengals. I'm worried about Burrow. I'm worried about his hand. The right tackle situation was dismal. I thought the Bengal D would rebound this year, and week 1 didn't imply that it would, and especially against the run. And KC's like the Niners. They're just a juggernaut right now. I'm tough.
Let's see. There is a note on I don't know if I have it saved here, but Hollywood Brown season might be over. He's going to have surgery.
Yeah. They
Let's
can withstand it, but that's a shame.
Yeah. So, it doesn't really affect things. They looked fine in week 1, and I think they got enough. I mean, just strengthens young Xavier Worthy's spot, being a breakout rookie for the Kansas City Chiefs there. And, just Burrow and this is a throwing hand injury, unlike Josh Allen, it was a non-throwing hand injury. I just don't like the way things are with the Bengals. And 6 points, Chiefs at home, the best team in the league potentially. No, I'm giving up those points.
Me too, man. It's one of my favorites so far, to be honest with you. There's a couple clips of Burrow like struggling to use the water bottle,
to pick up a water bottle off the ground on the bench. Don't like that, and things aren't right with his receivers either. So it's not just him, even if he's 100%.
I don't think Higgins plays again.
Ever.
I don't know about that. No, I don't think he's going to play this week. No.
Like he's just going to sit out the rest of the year and go into free agency. Okay.
No, I don't think once again, I don't think he'll play.
Okay. The Chicago Bears at 1-0 are at the 1-0 Houston Texans. Texans at home favored by 6.5.
I have some concerns about the Bears and the young quarterback, and I think Houston puts up a lot of points against a pretty good defense, but I'm very much in Houston's corner right now.
Yeah, I am too. I like the Houston Texans by a touchdown in this one.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football are at the Philadelphia Eagles. These teams looked completely different in week 1. Do we see the Falcons flip the switch here in week 2? The Eagles ran Saquon Barkley had 2 rushing touchdowns, 109 yards on the ground, even with Hurts throwing a couple picks. The Eagles really outplayed the Green Bay Packers. I expect them to outplay the Falcons this week. Huge questions about the Falcons after week 1. If you were on that bandwagon, you probably have 1 foot off already. I'm all the way off that Falcons bandwagon. So I like the Eagles, much like we talked about with the Texans and the Bears. I got to see more out of the Falcons. So I think the Eagles on Monday night at home can win this one by a touchdown. So I'm not taking the points if I'm the Falcons right now.
100% agree with everything you said. I'm officially worried about Cousins. The Atlanta plays the Chiefs next week after this. I mean, if they're 0-3, are we talking about Michael Penix? I think that's not crazy.
I don't like the way the Falcons, and I guess it's not their benefit to be honest about it, but they're acting like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with Kirk Cousins. He was in pistol and shotgun 90% of the time, and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson was asked about that this week, and he's like, oh, it's his injury is not why. If you watch him play, he's clearly not 100%.
He couldn't move off his spot or protect himself against Watt and Hayward and those guys.
Maybe you have to address it and face it head on instead of trying to put your head in the sand and pretending there's not an issue with Cousins. And so, I don't like it. I don't like it at all for the Falcons right now.
They didn't use play action once. 0 play action attempts, and that's like what he does best. I think that he just physically couldn't make the motions, and they didn't think they could protect that extra half second longer. And I mean, that's a problem.
If he's having trouble just catching out a shotgun and throwing naturally, then it's going to be even worse if he's trying to take a 5-step drop, right? And turn his back to the defense. And so, give me the Eagles.
Me too.
All right, there we go. That is the schedule for week 2. Those are our picks. Let us know what you think at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Get your questions in as you're watching football for next week's mailbag. And of course, Matt and I will be back on Monday to break down all of the action from Sunday. And by the way, Matt mentioned it. He's with our guy, Tony Wiggins, on the two-a-day shows that we're doing on the new Locked On NFL. We got the madman Tyler Rowland in the morning, and then we got Matt Williamson with T. Wig on Fridays on Locked On NFL. So check that out. And of course, your team is covered every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network for your second listen after you make Peacock and Williamson your first listen. Appreciate that. Back Monday right here, Peacock and Williamson.